in Maine. One must die, chase the cat.
Good evening and welcome to Posse Presents. I got applause in the corner of the room. It occurs to me watching the intro. You know, I always say every dog in that sequence has a story, and the older black dog in the kennel, it just like hit me like a ton of bricks. It was a couple of years ago, about now, that he didn't make it out of the pound alive. So here's to Barney, who became my inspiration for quite a lot. He really did, and I'm going to try not to get all choked up because I still do. I cried like he was my own. There was just nothing personally more I could do for him. Couldn't take him in myself. He had some issues. There was a lot of losses in that 2 weeks' time, and it was really a tough pill to swallow. You know, it's what I preach is get these dogs out of the pound before their time's up. There were 20 dogs in 2 weeks that didn't make it out of the pound alive that year, and quite a few of them were dogs that I'd loved on and played with and took pictures of, and you know, it's a tough thing whether you've got that personal connection with them or not. You know, their lives, they matter. You can definitely from your chair looking at your computer, or you know, on your hands and knees on the floor playing with them, it hurts to lose them. So, you know, adopt, people, please, adopt. That wasn't my planned beginning of the show, but I was, you know, I always watch my intro, and I was like, wow, it's that time of year, and there goes Barney. Anyway, I'm going to start tonight on a bit of a happier note. Happy birthday shout out to Laurel Cox. She had a birthday this week. If you remember, she was on the show together with Mark Sheehan one night, and she brought Addie along with her. In the works to have her come on again with her newest member of her pack, Moo. And don't think that when I see you tomorrow, Laurel, I'm not going to be all over you about that. Anyway, happy birthday, my friend. Hope it was a great day, and I suspect that you know, I will be able to say it in person tomorrow. Anyway, pleased to say that we are now over 4,400 views on YouTube. So I thank everyone who's been catching up or watching for the first time. Pound Posse Presents is on YouTube. You can watch every episode, Christmas promos, and even the intro, which perhaps maybe one of these days I'll go in there and in the description I will tell the tale of all of those animals. But until I do, go check it out if you're just watching and if you don't know what the show is about. It's a good way to get acquainted. Go check it out. But thank you, everyone, for 4,400 views in, you know, a little more than a year and a half. I'm pleased and I'm proud and I'm grateful and I'm humbled. I have a gentleman that I see at work who actually told me he was going camping last weekend or some such thing, and he was going to show all his friends one of my shows on YouTube, which is kind of neat and kind of weird, and I'll take it. He told me, oh yeah, everybody loved you, they thought you were great. All right, whatever, spread the word, I'm good. But neither here nor there. On with why we're really here. Zach, let's get the first picture up. In New London this week, there was a dog found in pretty bad shape. There he is. He's a 7 to 9 year old, according to what the vet thinks, male pitty. He was found tied behind an abandoned building. He has open wounds all over his body. He's got bacterial infections, yeast infections, and he's missing an eye. Currently, he's at the vet. Unfortunately, a municipal facility is only going to provide limited care, but he is getting medical treatment. People are trying to band together to get him further care, to get him into a rescue. I guess the latest update is there are 2 rescues who are saying that they're willing to take him in. Unfortunately, he's on a stray hold until I believe it's Friday. So let's hope that his Friday the 13th changes his life forever in a positive way. God only knows what this poor dog has been through. To me, he looks like a sweetie, and I can't imagine what he's gone through. And to be tied behind an abandoned building, that is just, it's despicable. That there's only one word for that. And so subsequently, New London Animal Control is looking to find out any information they can get about this guy. If anybody knows where he came from, who had him, anybody recognizes him, can provide any information, that'd be critical to perhaps, finding the person who did this, is responsible, and perhaps seeing a little justice served. Please call 860-447-5231. Once again, that's 860-447-5231. Really, people, we got to start giving it our all and making people be accountable for their actions. That's just a crime. Anyway, on to the next picture of a dog that was stolen from Stamford. If you're reading the poster, they have the date he went missing as September 22nd, where it should be August 22nd. Haste makes waste, and anybody who knows how I am about proofreading things, we'll leave that alone. This little guy, 5 months old, was stolen in Stamford. Apparently by a high school student, sold him, but then says that he ran away. However, a dog that's a dead ringer for him showed up in a picture posted by a pawn shop. For sale on a pawn shop site, go figure. And I believe that was in Fairfield or Bridgeport, or at some point Fairfield and Bridgeport are almost the same thing, I hate to say. But anyway, once there was a little attention paid to that post from the pawn shop, the picture it magically disappeared. And of course, now nobody knows nothing, okay? Not acceptable. Once again, there needs to be a little bit of accountability here. However, it's crazy, because when I saw the dog posted on the pawn shop page, I was appalled. First of all, who pawns a dog, if that's how that came to be? But second of all, I saw this picture and I was like, holy cow, that dog looks like the pawn shop. And then it exploded all around the same time I saw it. People are saying, I was reading the thread, that looks like that dog, and whatever. So clearly it was pursued, but there's not a whole lot of information forthcoming, because people love to keep their mouths shut when they should open them, and open them when they should keep them shut, I will add. But this little guy needs to get home, because all these people want is their dog back. The police are involved, and I don't know, unless somebody has some information that they're willing to share, it's going to be pretty hard trail to follow if everybody's clammed up. So if you know anything about this poor dog, if you know anything about, the chain of events that have happened that nobody knows about, please call 203-253-6107. That's 203-253-6107. And let's get this little guy back home where he belongs, in safe hands. And it's scary to think that that's going to be a new trend now. Can't imagine that dog was posted by a pawn shop. Just unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable to me. Anyway, another stolen dog with a lot of cloak and dagger stuff going on in the background is Austin. If we could get his picture up, Zach. Austin was actually stolen twice. He was apparently stolen and recovered, I think it was in New York State, and returned to his owners, and somehow stolen again. Now, he was found the second time I don't know how much more this dog's luck is going to hold or not hold. But when he was found this time, it was more locally. He had gotten himself free of a garbage bag that was duct taped over his head and still stuck there, and his back legs were zip tied. Again, unacceptable. Who does this? I can't imagine what people are thinking or not thinking. They're not sure whether he was dumped, if he had been, tried to get himself away from, being thrown in some water or whatever. But, apparently the police are not being all that helpful. They seem to want to keep it quiet rather than, put up a full-blown investigation. There's a lot of undertones and backstory that kind of changes the way you can look at this story. But why, I got to ask, is this dog being targeted? The police seem to think, it was a hate crime, which, who do you hate, the people or the dog? It doesn't make any sense. So I think that the Brookfield police need to not try to sweep this under the carpet, because if this is going to be what, is going on in their town, then they need to, they really need to step up and make sure that it doesn't happen. There's a lot to be said for, keeping your dog safe, but, at this point it's hard to point the finger and say, oh, well, the people should have been more careful and not left the dog in the yard. You can always say that. You could say that with any dog that goes missing. But if you have any information, before I get off on a tangent, because I feel it coming on, if you have any information about Austin, and I don't know if the owner really wants her phone number put everywhere. I do have it. I've been in touch with someone who's kind of like filling me in on the situation, and I need to sort out some of the facts. I do want to write about it, but there's just a lot of facts to sort through. So if you want to email me, I'll put you in touch with, at least the owner or someone who can get in touch with the owner, and you can email any information to me at pawprints713@aol.com. That's PAWPRINTS713@aol.com. And I'll take the camera back for now, Zach. The important thing to remember, people, is you've really got to protect your pets. Unfortunately, there's too many stories of things happening. From the pit bull in New London that was tied behind the abandoned building, to the dog stolen in Stamford, to this poor guy, to any number of these other dogs that, are lost or stolen. It's your responsibility. Do not leave your animals unattended for a minute, not in a car, not even in your own backyard, I hate to say, because it's becoming more and more prevalent for people to want to steal animals, and they'll just take them right out of your yard. I was reading something tonight about don't even let a stranger lean down to your pet's level to pet them, because people have been unhooking leashes and running off with your dog. Like, really? I would hunt you down, and I won't even discuss what would happen. But, it's just too much of a thing now where dogs are getting stolen left and right, and it's not for good reasons. People are taking them and selling them indiscriminately. People are, fighting them, baiting them. It's just, they're turning up. God only knows what poor Austin went through. I mean, someone put a garbage bag over his head and zip tied his legs. Come on, what was the intent there? He's lucky he was found alive. So think it through. Stop thinking that you're invincible and nothing's going to happen to your animal and it's in my yard and it's all good and it's okay, because I'm here to sit and tell you it's not. So don't leave them in your car. Don't leave them in your front yard. Don't leave them in your backyard. It's scary to say people are getting robbed. Their houses are getting broken into and their dogs are being stolen. So, I mean, you can't not leave them at home, but it's too much. It's way too much. And, people really need to be aware and protect their animals. This week there was, again, you talk about, ill intent. Someone outed on Facebook and in some emails for adopting, it was very messy too, anyway, adopting pit bulls from pounds and then breeding them and making money off the puppies. Well, that's not, it's just not acceptable either. If you're, this touches on the whole backyard breeder thing and a little bit farther beyond that. What else goes on? They adopt dogs from the pounds and, fight them, bait them, all these horrible things. But for those who are actually breeding them, you are perpetuating a problem that is just, it's so huge now. And you greedy people, shame on you, because you don't care about those animals. All you care about is the almighty dollar. There's no benefit to what you're doing, except to yourself. Find another way to support yourself. Maybe get a job. That'd be a great thing to do. There needs to be reform and a uniform approach to adoptions in municipal pounds. And, that's something that it's long overdue. Unfortunately, there's only a handful of municipal pounds that will spay or neuter an animal before they go home when they're adopted. But that needs to be the general practice in this state. And, people need to get together and try to get that passed as a law. Yes, the ACOs can, and the pounds can use the vouchers to have it done. So there's no excuse for it not being done, other than everybody's got their plates full and they're going to say it's, they're too busy to take care of it. But, again, it's perpetuating the problem. Unfortunately, the pounds are full of dogs, and that's where it can stop. This mad, crazy, irresponsible breeding by sending these dogs out spayed or neutered. And, like I said, a handful do, but too many don't. Just handing out the voucher, because the state of Connecticut does provide a voucher for spay, neuter, and 2 vaccinations. But just handing out the voucher isn't a guarantee that it's going to get done. Again, crying your plate is too full and everything else. There should be some follow-up. There should be some enforcement. But better yet, there should be having it done before that dog goes home. If some pounds can do it, all pounds can do it. Now, I realize there's, 501 support on the other side of some of this, where volunteers are involved and there's like a whole machine. But really, with enough people, with the number of people that there are involved in trying to help out the shelter system, I think that it's something that could definitely be put in place if people on the outside are needed to get it done. But I think that mostly the ACOs, and I'm not slamming ACOs, I'm really not, but ACOs need to get on board with it and see that they're perpetuating the problem, unfortunately. Intentionally, not intentionally, caring, not caring, that's not even what I'm talking about. By sending an animal out of a pound, unspayed, unneutered, it's not helping the backyard breeder situation at all, because the dogs are too readily available. And I can remember times dealing with people that were adopting from the pound. There was one guy in particular, the dog that he was interested in, a young female, was already spoken for. She was adopted. And I tried to say, well, there's this great little dog here, and, she's already spayed. Oh, no, she's spayed. I don't want her. Really? Because you have a male dog at home, and let me guess, he's not neutered, right? It's very transparent, people. It's far too transparent. But, on that note, I mentioned last week, It's the Pits Community Awareness and Resources does have a new program to help 100 pit bulls in Waterbury get spayed or neutered. And, for more information on that, you need to contact Stephanie at itsthepits.org. That's STEPHANIE at ITSTHEPITS.org, or call 619-985-4026. You do have to show proof of Waterbury residence and a picture of your dog. But, it's a great start to get on board with being part of the solution and not being part of the problem. And speaking of problems, there's something here I'm going to read for you. And I think this is like a Posse second, where I'm actually going to put my glasses on without having pictures up. But that's okay. I'm a big girl. I can do it. I'm not that vain. Anyway, excuse me. You've all heard me on a number of occasions hail a Facebook page, Helping Connecticut Canines. And I love Judy Falbo to death, and she posted something today that addresses another side of the animal rescue world, and that is something I've touched on any number of times about what makes a good rescue and etc. So I'm going to read this to you quickly, or not so quickly, whatever. I'm going to read it how I read it. Her post is just like way too powerful, and as usual, totally on point. So she started with, rescue has gone to the dogs. There seems to be quite a few startup rescues popping up in Connecticut. It is very easy to get the rescue bug, and I am so thankful for kind-hearted souls, yet at the same time afraid for the dogs they are rescuing. Rescue isn't meant to be a reward, an attention getter, a hobby, a mission, and never, ever a moneymaker. Unless you are truly willing and able to learn and understand the complexity of rehoming a dog by working alongside a group who has already learned and experienced the process, you have no business thinking you can do it well. It is not easy regardless of the temperament, breed, age, health, or need. Of course, we all applaud your willingness, but I cringe at your selfishness. I am sure everyone on any dog-related Facebook page, Twitter, or Instagram account have seen plea after plea for foster homes. After all, most rescues do not have their own facility and rely on your home to provide a safe, temporary landing spot. All rescues that I admire and choose to work with have been around the block a few times. The officers or board members have begun as foster homes under experienced, knowledgeable, and established rescues, only to take those learned lessons, maybe tweak it a bit, and create their own when funding, exposure, and need are in place. I have fostered for quite a few national and regional rescues that taught me so much, seamlessly. So much so that I would never, in a million years, try to strike out on my own. Why would I? They do it so well, and I know I could assist more by providing a foster home for one of their fully vetted, rescue-protected for life dogs than I could ever possibly on my own. If you do not have the contacts, the funding, the experience, the veterinary expertise, and available discounts, and the guts to make hard decisions in the name of the dog, then foster instead of putting rescue in the back of your newly created, catchy name. I'm tired of seeing dogs taken from shelters, bounced around, returned, and sometimes disappear. I'm tired of seeing urgent requests for medical needs for one dog while they are still taking in another dog that may also be in need financially. I'm tired of seeing good people and small bank accounts fund and enable a rescue that will not be here in a year or two. Is the rescue open to honest questions or inquiries about their operations, or do they become defensive and block any further communication? Is the rescue in good standing with their animal control officer? What is their background and experience? Who have they worked with? Who were they trained by? Self-taught? How? Are you donating to a legitimate rescue or a Facebook page? Are they registered with their state as a charity and or nonprofit? Are they letting one dog go without medical treatment due to lack of funds, yet taking in more? It is about how wonderful they are, how much they do, who they know, a touching photograph or two, or is it truly about the dog? Know who you are supporting. Know their background. Enable, support, and volunteer to those who make a true difference. Now I'll tell you, she hit the nail right on the head. You know, I have touched on some of that before on the show and on Facebook and in person, and you know, never were truer words put together and quite so eloquently. So thank you, Judy, for putting that out there. It is a problem. There's a lot of people who think that, you know, they fancy themselves a rescue and really all they are is a Facebook page. It's not easy. You do have to learn the ropes, and you know, they're not easy ropes to learn. Personally, I can tell you from experience, yes, you do need to come up through some sort of history with working with a shelter, working with a rescue, to know exactly what goes on. I did it. You know, people see me now, and I've said this before, people see me now sitting here on TV, writing my column, you know, posting stuff on Facebook. Oh, why don't you get your hands dirty and this? Yeah, okay, believe me, my hands have been dirtier than most, plenty of times over, and for a longer time than you ever could imagine. So thank you, Judy, again, for putting it out there quite so eloquently as you did. People really think about what you're doing. You may want to start your own rescue. It's not just like, you know, a magical wave of a wand and, you know, you're a rescue. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to run into trouble and you're going to put the animals in danger. So really, volunteer before you decide to strike out on your own. Be involved, be knowledgeable. It's the only way you're going to really help the animals, because otherwise you're doing more harm than good, and you're going to be in way over your head. So just a reminder, Thursday, which is September 12th, we're going to all be on 400 Grand Street in court to support not abusing animals in shelters. I'm going to say peace, love, and dogs. And until next week, good night.